Writing this stuff down just makes me laugh too.
All right. Happy 420, Cynthia.
And to you and yours, thank you. Mm.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Jodi James, and today is Friday, and it is 420, and that makes this Elevated Intel with Jodi James and Cynthia Brewer, brought to you by Florida Cannabis Action Network. Did you have
Try
a
to
good
have
week?
a little bit more excitement in your presentation. I feel like we have deflated the Jodi. Has Tallahassee got to you?
It really has. No, and I'm home,
I can tell.
back in my space. It's good to be back in my space.
Good.
So,
We're happy to have you back in the space. But aren't you leaving again soon for a conference?
I do. We actually have the Alt Beverage Conference this weekend. So Florida Cannabis Action Network is next weekend. Busy people doing busy things.
Mm.
Tonight at Aspiration Winery in Tampa, several of our team are with the Libertarian Party of Florida for their LP state convention this weekend. So yay, Party of Florida. We often have Hector Roos from the chair of the LP party with us. I don't know if he'll be able to pop in tonight or not because they're busy people doing busy things in
Yeah.
Tampa.
Yeah,
And
that
then
should be fun.
it will be fun. And so Carla Ashburn of MM Florida, from the Brooksville area, she is our secretary, and she is going to go be our leader in Tallahassee this week while I go south to West Palm Beach for the Alt Beverage Conference on Saturday or Friday and Saturday.
What is alt beverage for those who don't know?
Well, you know what? I've never been. So I did
Okay.
a little Google researchy thing.
As you should. Yes.
Alt beverages, alternative beverages, alternatives to alcohol. So functional mushrooms, seltzers, tonic waters. We'll see, right? Ask me next week.
I feel like that's going to be, I hope they let you have samples.
Yeah, I suspect there will be samples.
I
Uh,
suspect so.
and I see Colette Florido, our first vice president, our only vice president. We had some firsts.
No, no.
Our vice president.
If you're
Wait,
not
wait.
first, you're last. Colette's the first. Yes,
And
absolutely.
we're
Good for
gonna
her.
we're gonna we're gonna talk about that later. That was not the second to everyone part of the conversation, nor have we gotten to PSAs yet, but we will get there. So Colette's on her way to represent Florida Can at the Alt Beverage. So thanks for tuning in while you're on your drive time, Colette. We appreciate it.
She's going now and it's next week.
Nope.
Oh,
Today is she's going to the Libertarian Party convention
oh,
at
got you with Hector
Aspirations
and the
Winery.
group. Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that should. So we
And
will check in with them
Macris gonna
and
be hanging out tomorrow.
yeah.
And Josephine Canella Krill is there representing the Flowery. Go,
I was just
Josephine.
on the phone with her. We were talking about our advisory committee for Florida Cannabis Action Network.
Mhm.
Just as our homework permitted, as you
Yeah,
assigned, we did
big
it.
things.
Yeah, we do
Big
things.
things.
Yes, we take directions well. So she's
Nice.
she's fun. I was like, let's have this conversation in Italian. And then turns out I know no Italian. So on that phone call, I knew the second most Italian between two people. She knew the first most.
And she could do that. She could have that conversation in Italian.
Well, if you know Inglorious Bastards, then Quentin Tarantino movie, then you know the joke I'm making about knowing the second most Italian. But she's pretty good at
Yeah,
it, and it's very
she is.
enchanting.
She,
Yes,
her speaking, and I like to listen to Josephine talk, period. I think
yes.
is always smart. And so we're very happy to have her on
She
our
tried
board
talking me off
advisory
the
board.
ledge on Wednesday after I got emotionally invested in the DOH bill language. And she said, "Don't go to bed angry, Cynthia." And I was like, "Well, are you going to stay up and fight with me?"
Did
Because
she stay up with you?
no, I actually just unangered. But
Okay.
she was all jacked up on that water, that all natural Zephyr Hills water fasting thing that she was doing. And so, I love her for keeping her temple a safe
That's right.
space and doing
Look
the
at
fast.
you.
I'm not gonna do a fast. Come on, I'm gonna do the opposite. But like I think she did great at it. And she was
We are
supercharged.
we're really lucky. Florida Cannabis Action Network has a fabulous leadership team, and certainly glad that you're part of it too.
Thanks.
Uh, we've got lots of things going on, as you mentioned. We're in Tampa this weekend. We're in West Palm next weekend and representing the cannabis community in Tallahassee this week.
Yeah,
So
we're
this
all
week
over the
coming up.
place.
Oh yeah, many hands make light work. Uh, you were mentioning the DOH bill. We do have some bills that are moving in Tallahassee. Is that something you would like to share,
No,
Cynthia?
thank you
Okay,
for asking.
moving on.
No, it's so we
Oh,
were we were talking
easy
to,
peasy. Give me a
Steve just
short
a second
show.
ago in the pre elevated intel brainstorming sesh, and he asked about a bill that we were watching at the beginning of session, or before when it was introduced. We
Oh,
had to
sad
break the
face.
news that it was gone, and it just we were watching such a big group of them, and it dwindles down as session starts to get underway, and then committees are almost done being heard. The last day will be the 3rd of March, and what we have left over, we have some things to be proud of, and we have some things that I'm just like, this is what we have after all this work. We
For
have
all
the
this.
DOH bill, we have the veterans bill, which is great, good language, but the DOH bill is got Cynthia a little heated on Wednesday evening. Yes,
So DOH is the Department of Health,
it is.
and they're doing a couple things with their bill. Every year, the Department of Health asks for a bill, and it also gets money attached to it. So a version of the Department of Health bill always passes.
Always.
What part of the DOH bill had you heated this week, Cynthia?
Oh, thank you for asking. Okay. So obviously we've gone back and forth about the need, or the what is the reasoning behind lowering the CBD threshold for what we consider a low THC product. Like, why wouldn't you want a lot of CBD? Actually ups the CBD threshold if in our minds, but no, they want to lower it. The proximity language for the new license holders, where they have more stringent requirements for where they can open dispensary locations. And this is
Right.
something that, nothing undermines regulatory credibility faster than changing the rules after capital has been deployed and is already in play, right? So that really makes us all feel a lot of confidence in the regulatory structure when
No,
people.
so so I was kind of laughing. We have 22 people who have or license holders, companies that have been kind of in limbo for
Yes,
more than a year now, right? And these 22 new license holders are absolutely going to be affected by this proximity
yes.
conversation that is happening in the DOH bill. I've been up there for, we're going on week 6, so I've been up there for week 6, and haven't heard from any of those 22 license holders. And I said to one of the lobbyists up there, I said, how come we're not hearing from any of the 22? I'm the only one up there going, look, you've got 22 license holders that have leases on places and blah, 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 blah. And, they're not going to, they're not permitted to be there. So they won't be grandfathered in because you got to be permitted in
Yeah.
order to be grandfathered in. Whoever buys their license, they're not going to be permitted. So they're going to have to renew their business license. And that means a new occupancy license. And they won't be able to get a new occupancy license because they'll be, in some cases, too close to a park or a daycare center or somebody's house where they're, babysitting 3 kids, because that's in the
At home
language.
daycare.
So this bill is teed up to be finished, and we've been asking for changes, told we would have changes face to face with one of the senators, right? Who said, yes, we absolutely looked at this language, we're fixing it. No fixes. And I saw that one of the 22 has already put their license up for sale on Facebook.
Oh, yes. Facebook Marketplace, the
If you,
license for sale. How many
if you want to
dollars?
sell a $20 million business, man, that's where you go
Okay.
first, is
Well,
Facebook.
the second that you said that, like, obviously we know the 22 license holders, some of them have been around in limbo for more than 8 years.
100%.
Because when we started the lab in 2017, well, 2016, 2017, they needed LOIs because they were going to apply thinking that there was going to be this very expeditious application process. And some of them actually stuck it out for that many years to actually apply and ended up getting a license. So I'm very proud of them. I mean, I can't imagine paying all of that stuff for that long and then still not having the ability. So, but I thought that there was language in their section of the new licenses where they couldn't flip it. They couldn't sell it immediately. Well, I don't want to get that part all worked up and heated, but yeah, like where were they in Tallahassee? Why weren't they present?
And do you really sell a multi-million-dollar business on Facebook?
Why
Just
not?
saying.
Let's
Well,
just
you
be
said you
honest.
wanted something funny today, and I'm
I
thinking
did.
selling an MMTC worth, $1 million
Amazing.
or $100 million or $10 million on Facebook.
Well, just put it up there, just see if you get any bites,
You know?
like, I mean, Poshmark takes a fee and then like, eBay takes
Oh,
a fee,
shoot.
but like, hey, just put it out there, see if you get any feelers. You never know.
You just never know. You
Good
just
for
never
them.
know. Yeah. So I'm like, check that one off. But you were talking about
The
the
DOH.
the the DOH bill, and we're talking I was seeing today $2.4 billion industry this year, marijuana, cannabis, 2.4 billion, expected to raise to 3.3 billion nationally in the next 4 years. That is an awful lot of chump change. And I wanted to ask you, is current marijuana just a tax on the poor?
That's a weird question to throw on me. I thought you were going to ask me because you said chump change about the penny debacle affecting the cannabis space because that was one of my fun stories. But
No,
no.
no, 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 no.
So let's dive into this. What do you mean? Is marijuana a tax on the poor?
Right. So all these states are going legal, right? And they're
Too
going to raise
many,
all this
too fast.
tax. They're going to raise all this. No, we're and
I'm saying
and
too many, too fast because we're falling by the wayside and we're going to become second fiddle or runner up, first runner up to probably Iowa, which is incredibly embarrassing, Jodi. So, like, not to mention the other states. I feel like Jodi's frozen. Steve, is she frozen? There she is. Okay. You unfroze yourself. It's all right. It's just
ah,
parts of the perks
okay.
of being back in town. But like New Hampshire, North Carolina, South Carolina, uh, I say possibly Iowa, Hawaii, Texas,
Yeah.
the great state of Texas, and Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, they could all legalize an adult use program before Florida. And my fear is we're going to come second fiddle to Iowa or Nebraska.
Nebraska, I love that. Second to Nebraska. Iowa's got a lot of farmers. They're pretty independent minded. I did kind of laugh. You asked me for some funny stories, and I've been doing this a long time, and you mentioned that I'm kind of deflated today. So I'm like, there's nothing funny about
I know.
marijuana in
You
this
you
decade.
you told me that
So
in the text
uh
message. You're like, "What's funny about modern cannabis, Cynthia?" And I was like, Everything, all of
so
it."
I did go searching because you and Josephine are not the only ones in Florida Cannabis Action Network who get an assignment and do it. So I went looking for some funny things, and it's funny that you mentioned Texas. I'm not sure that Texas is going to go legal before we do, so I'm still holding out that we get to legal before Texas. But Texas right now is in the midst of their primaries, and each party was given an opportunity to poll primary voters on important questions.
Yeah.
And the Texas Democratic Party is actually asking people, should Texas legalize cannabis for adults and automatically expunge criminal offenses for past low-level cannabis offenses?
And what they say?
So we'll find out. They are voting
Oh,
right now. If you are in Texas, you have until March 3rd to cast your ballots. So ask me the Friday after that.
and we'll judge
Uh,
you based on this answer. So like, and
okay,
talk
make a
about
note.
you,
Make a note.
obviously. Well, I
No,
think
but Texas, so if Texas Democrats are the only one talking about legalization, I don't think we have a whole lot to
but
worry
at least
about.
they're asking because when they asked us, okay, they asked us Floridians, hey, do you want the ability to vote for adult use cannabis on a ballot all by yourself without anybody, like, do you want that ability? And overwhelming 67% of people said, yes, I want to make the decision myself for legalization. Not necessarily in favor, but they want the ability to vote on it by themselves. So like we don't need any hand holding. And it's
I'm still
difficult
holding out. I'm still holding out hope that legalization will be on the Florida ballot this year. I have a
because it went to the
closet.
Supreme Court, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
dancing with the Supreme Court judges as we speak.
I have a closet full of things that say yes on three.
That's a good point.
And
Waste not, want not.
I noticed that the legislature has put at least one thing on the ballot, right? The
So
property tax is going on the ballot.
I see where you're
So,
going.
so we could be three again. We could.
And then
We
we
could.
could reuse all the stuff we've already got that says yes on three, or we just scrape
100%.
off the three and then it's yes on and then Sharpie 1, 2. So yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. Now, so Ethel just wrote CASA on everything, right? 'Cause CASA 3 is the USDA symbol. And so we'll just put CASA 3 on everything. We went to Ethel Rowland's art show a
I
couple
saw that.
weeks ago. Ethel's a past president of ours, and she did a fabulous walkthrough on some of her drug war paintings. So if you
Yeah.
haven't seen it, I suggest that you get back and look at it. We're going to be posting it again. Kendra.
Um, Jodi, you're frozen again. Steve says she froze. Okay. You're frozen because your connection's not great.
With Thompson.
You're good. I don't know what's going on with your connection.
Oh, great. So now I'm just dancing. I got nothing. I got nothing. High
I
speed
missed
internet at the
everything you
office. What are you gonna
said,
do?
but I feel like I got the gist.
Well, I don't know that I said much.
I do want to.
What did you? Where did I leave off?
God knows. We were talking about, dude, don't ask me that. I have the memory of a goldfish. So we were talking about being able to vote on
Oh no,
cannabis
I don't know what.
legalization. I love that. Just
And wanting to and holding out hope for Amendment 3.
yes,
We're
and
holding.
CASA
I'm holding
3
out hope that legalization will be on the ballot. CASA
it's
3
in
post
Supreme
production
Court.
on the Ethel Rowland's video.
The
Yep.
Supreme Court has the smart and safe argument now. I guess they have taken it to the Supreme Court of Florida. They are trying a last ditch effort to go ahead and get those signatures that they believe that were invalidated back into their count. I'm not sure if the math is mathing in that capacity, which like Florida's never really been good at math, as we've realized this week with some of the conversations that we've had. But you know, this is something that if you add the 70,000 back in, we're still shy of that threshold of 880,000 signatures. So I do wonder if there's another motive or another argument that they might have in front of the Supreme Court that might legitimize more signatures. But I don't know. I mean, if you get 70, you're still short.
Wow, right. I'm kind of watching that map too, to see, and I had intended to try and get in there and check and see if whatever they have now plus 70,000 would make a difference.
Not quite.
So well, I wonder, but you know, if they do math the same way that the estimating conference does math, we're close enough, you know.
Yeah.
400,000, 600,000, whatever.
Yeah. So Florida, we have other strong suits. You know, we're good at other things. We can't be good at everything. But so as far as like national news, there's not a lot going on. There's been some, you know, some interesting stories about Curaleaf closing some, you know, one of the actually the largest you know, cannabis arrangement for like shares or capital into their company. It was like $500 million or something like that. There's stories about other cannabis companies making these big positive moves. But when it comes to Florida, things just don't quite look as optimistic as all the headlines. I do want to talk about some lawmakers in Maryland, and only because we just recently opened a lab in Maryland. We are awaiting our final license with the MCA. So we are excited about serving that community and being able to test medicine for those growers. There are some lawmakers right now that are trying to change the workforce rules around first responders that use medical marijuana. And they're saying that the proposal in front of the Maryland Senate Finance Committee would protect firefighters and rescue workers from being disciplined and fired solely for off the clock cannabis use. So the bill sponsor is Senator Carl Jackson, and he says flat out, these first responders risk their lives for us every single day. If this is the way that they unwind and they choose to deal with the trauma that they witness every single day, then let them eat cake, like leave them alone. Don't. And so I think
100%.
that's I'm not sure how likely it is that EMTs, firefighters, first responders are all going to be able to get this amazing language through, but the fact that someone's willing to acknowledge that the PTSD and the trauma that our first responders experience needs some sort of relief in some capacity, and we shouldn't punish them for that. I think that's a big step. So
Well,
way to
I
go,
certainly
Maryland.
right on. And you know what it's going to take? It's going to take a group of firefighters, uh, just like we have the veterans who came up with us this year. The reason the Veterans Bill has gotten as far as it has gotten this year is because for years we've had veterans groups coming up and talking to lawmakers and doing a little bit of work during session to get the bill heard. This year, we've had a full-on press from the Grateful Veteran. We're grateful. They made it their mission because they know that uh, the people who have served, that the people that they are serving, that they can serve a whole lot more people if we can get that card reduced. So I think what it's going to take next year is first responders coming up and
Yeah.
demanding it. We've got the EMT over in Hillsborough County who won litigation. And as a result, we have a bill in the Florida House. That's why I said, is there anything funny happening in cannabis policy? We've got the bill in the Florida House that would remove companies' civil liability for
Employer.
violating
Yes.
DMA rights. Seriously, that's not funny,
That
but it
stuff
could be
isn't
worse.
funny. I mean, how far, but that companion bill hasn't gone anywhere, which I've noticed. The employer immunity from civil liability bill, which we spoke about last week, which would allow employers to terminate your employment if you disclose your cannabis use and they believe that it is impeding on your job performance. And it does not have a metric or a rubric or any type of syllabus or baseline, no data. It's just their feeling on your cannabis use. And I don't want anybody to feel anything about my cannabis use except for me. I feel like that's a
There you
private
go.
activity. Don't you feel a certain way about my cannabis use? But that is something where the companion bill hasn't had any traction. And so I'm not, is it benign or is it something to worry about?
Well, it's probably benign. It's not going to go anywhere. And Matt points out that firefighters are afraid of disciplinary action or retaliation if they come up and speak out. And maybe that's why it needs to be retired firefighters, right? People who, like our veterans, they're not coming after my pension because of what I do now. But, somebody has to come and speak out. That's the only way these things change. So I'd like to know
Yeah.
who was behind the bill in Maryland. We've had a bill the last few years that would protect public employees written by Suncoast Normal, but it's not even gotten a hearing in 3 or 4 years. So
Right.
unfortunately, that
Parental and employee protections always seems to fall through the cracks where
so
employee immunity and the ability for them to exploit different individuals and personnel seems to get stronger and stronger. And I don't like that very much, Jodi.
no, no, I don't like it either. David and I, my husband and I had a conversation um about what's kind of it this is not what we were fighting for. This
I
is
know.
not the protections that we were looking for. I was looking for funny stories because that was my
Because
assignment
I
for today.
kept driving that point home that like we can be light sometimes when it's so heavy. But
No. So Tucson, is this light? Tucson, Arizona, Senate Bill 1725 will make excessive marijuana smoke,
Yeah, I saw that one.
a public nuisance with a class 3 misdemeanor.
Can you please define excessive marijuana smoke? Because
Excessive
what
for
you
me,
might think is
excessive for you.
excessive is what I think is standard operating procedure
Just
for
another
excess.
day.
Yeah.
But
Like,
it was, can you just show me your dose buster?
no, the dose buster is the piece I need to find for Steve. But I switched out my prop. This is like this is a black, like a representative black prop, because his bill about open containers and so every week until that bill is dead or dying, I will replace it. And I have so many of these, like I could go for a while.
Oh, it's going to be fun. The,
And they're
the,
all
the,
giant. I didn't even
the
know they made
exchanging.
smaller ones.
Well, you know
I
what I
thought
was
those were
thinking
for
about
kids,
this.
and
For
this
me
was
to
for
be able
adults.
to, for me to be able to pass the, for me to be able to pass the bong through the window at a stoplight would have to be pretty big. I mean, otherwise, cars don't get that close together, though.
Steve showed me a piece that was petite and it apparently is functional. It wasn't like a dollhouse piece or like a prop piece. It was actually a real piece, but it was actually smaller. So they do make them smaller apparently, but all the ones I will have until this bill is dead will be different every single week because I have a very nice glass collection. I call, yeah, it's a water bong garden. So
That's
it's got a
nice.
fountain, water feature. There's a fountain, there's a little bit of LED lights, it really sets the ambiance. And I
We
like
all
that.
want to see a picture. I'm coming over just to see.
There's a
So,
Buddha. Yes.
hey, Carla, welcome, Carla Ashburn. We talked about you earlier, but thanks for being here. Looking forward to having you represent us next week in Tallahassee. Matt Moses said, and I've seen this before, a Lee County firefighter tested positive with a medical cart. The union did not fight for him. Instead, he had to sign a paper that said he had a drug problem
This,
and
you
received treatment.
remember
God bless. Yeah.
there was a podcast that I co-hosted before this one called Marijuana Mind with Dr. Justin Davis. Our very first episode, we had 3 different corrections officers that were terminated. Their employment was terminated because they did not pass a drug test, but they were active patients in the registry. And so unless they chose to sign a document that said they had a problem with cannabis, then they wouldn't be reinstated. 2 of the 3 signed. The last one I ended up hiring so that he could keep working. And he and Minardi took his argument as far as they could. But at the end of the day, it's not as many success stories as we would like to hear from
Well,
those
I
types
think
of activities.
we lost on that case. We lost on Sam's case,
Yeah.
but they did not they found that he could not be reinstated because as a prison guard, he would need to carry a gun.
Yes.
And he's not able to carry a gun as a medical marijuana card holder. And I did see that some more briefs have been added in on our Supreme Court case, Cooper versus U.S. versus Cooper. The Supreme Court is not hearing our version of the case. They are hearing Rahimi, and Rahimi is a drug user, recreational drug user who has taken his case to the Supreme Court saying that he should not be, his Second Amendment rights should not be violated because he chooses to use drugs. So we're still
887 got,
watching that one.
wait,
What's that?
887, sorry, HB 887 got a committee.
Ah,
That
just
is
got
phenomenal
noticed.
news. So go
We
ahead.
did not. Excellent.
We
Thanks
did
for
not
sharing,
know that.
Carla.
That is
On the
fantastic.
24th. That's going to be Tuesday. It's going to be a busy Tuesday up there.
Ooh,
And
see,
no, Carla, what we covered was that you are going to be there in Tallahassee for us next week. Very
and
excited
she's gonna have
to have
exciting
you.
stuff to go and argue and testify to.
Have fun.
Remind
All
everybody what
right.
887 is.
So 887 is Susan Valdez bill in the Florida House of Representatives,
Whew,
Representative Valdez, that will allow for discounted cards for veterans in the program. And this is
it's the last
dishonorably
stop. We've been waiting all freaking week for this.
100%,
This is so great. This is such great news.
100%. 3 weeks. We've been waiting 3 weeks. Its last committee was 2 weeks ago.
Well, I'm saying like it's got the heat and the pressure has gotten even more intense because the third is the last date for committees. And then next week, if it wasn't scheduled, that was it. So like they only meet once a week.
I want to take a victory lap, and I want everybody on that's watching to take a victory lap. We asked you yesterday, 2 days ago, to make some phone calls to Health and Human Services. I know that folks from around the state have been making that call. You made this happen. Congratulations. Thanks for picking up the phone and requesting that 887 get on the docket. All of your energy. We may very well be able to do something good for veterans. And again, we don't want to forget Buds for Vets. We don't want to forget Tammy Long and Battle Buds, Jimmy Johnston, Weed for Warriors. A lot of veterans groups have been up over the last 4 or 5 years to try and move some of this forward. And we thank you all. We're gonna get a victory this year. We're
Things are looking up. Not everything is all shit and no sunshine.
That's
So
right.
my
That's
other
right.
story I wanted to bring up today, because I'm actually really charged now that I know that Valdez has her last committee stop, which means it's like one more stop and then goes to the floor. And then, yeah, so this is I'm very positive about this. Now things are looking up. But I did want to say one thing about a deadline. For some reason, the federal government loves to miss their deadlines as if like they don't matter or like no one's going to notice. So when the hemp ban was announced that they were going to do a complete, I guess you could say, re, how would you say that? They allowed for hemp to be legal, and then they were like, takesies backsies was enacted.
I like the takesy backsies.
Okay, takesies backsies. So they did the takesies backsies.
Build a whole organization, but whatever.
Yeah, 365 days until it's going to be a complete hemp ban. But in the meantime, FDA, and RFK, FDA, we need you have some homework assignments to finish. The homework assignments were in the next, was it 30 or 60 days? I think it was it
There were several. Are you talking about the November?
The November deadline is when the hemp ban will take effect for all of the retailers to not be able to sell anything.
And
that was
I thought that was on hold. Wait a minute.
But the FDA was given the assignment of defining package one.
Right. Yeah.
What active cannabinoids are present in the plants
list of
that are naturally occurring.
Right.
What cannabinoids are similar in psychoactive properties to THC. And they just missed their deadline. So it was a February 10th deadline to publish this very key, very imperative guidance for, I guess, everybody, or just the people that don't know much about cannabinoids, because they didn't know. These were our big questions. And we also don't know what a package is. Apparently. Could you help us with that also? We'll throw that into your homework assignment. So the agency did not list the known naturally occurring cannabinoids, the THC class cannabinoids, or other ones that have similar effects to THC, and a clearer definition of what the word container means, which, you know what, we're gonna let them have that one, because words are hard, and so is math, but words are really hard.
Oren reminds us that this was not a ban. We were closing the loophole.
Oh, 100%. It's a loophole closure that was created.
Let's be clear.
And we're fixing it. Now,
that's right.
If you're doing things, making CBD products that are legit, then you're good. You're good. You have nothing to worry about. But
we'll see.
Everything has something to worry about. But this is something that everyone's kind of just referred to it as the hemp ban. But in essence, it is closing a gray area loophole that people have exploited in the opportunistic retail market and made a metric F ton of money doing so. The guy down the street delivers hemp products in BMWs. His entire fleet is BMW. So we're in the wrong line of work. But
I figured that way. Okay. All right. It looks like Cynthia is the one who is frozen up this time. Good grief. So Hector has dropped the link in. Are you back, Cynthia?
I am totally back. I did not think. I am so confused why my internet is unstable. Like it is going through some stuff.
I'll tell you what. So it wasn't just me. It did look like your video, but I was hearing you. Welcome, Jen. Glad that you are with us today. this whole thing, and Matt pointed out, and this is what I had heard too, that we weren't even going to hear anything more on any of that till 2028. And I think this is horrible. It's really putting a chill on the entirety of the industry. How in the world would you invest in a company? Why in the world would you invest in a company that might be obsolete in 2 years?
True.
I think that makes it very challenging. But I did have one more story that I thought was kind of funny, and leads me to, and so in small town in Colorado, police were called because there was suspicious activity outside of a local dumpster. When
Isn't
police
all
arrived,
activity by a dumpster kind of sus? But yeah, go on.
really somebody called the cops on that, but that is not the headline. Police were called for suspicious activity at the dumpster. When they arrived, they found 400 pounds of marijuana in black trash bags next to the dumpster. Now, I think this is kind of funny because back in the day when all marijuana was illegal and you didn't want to give up your source, when someone would say, "Well, where'd you get this pot?" You'd be like, "Well, I got it at the dumpster," right?
I
Because
found it.
if it didn't get it out of the trash, then somebody was in trouble. So apparently, we're not the only ones who are stashing good weed at the dumpster. Or the real question becomes, what do you do with your old weed?
Or what else would you put 400 pounds of weed in? Like, I feel like the trash bag is a reasonable container for anybody, illicit or legal. Like, at that point, like,
Oh, no,
what would you
no.
put it in? A tote?
Big duffel bag is how we used to get
Who
ours.
has a bunch of duffel bags lying around?
The guy that was bringing us 100 pounds of weed every week.
I don't know. I just feel like if somebody, like, first, if somebody could just
You can put
legitimately
a
tell me
lot of
what they
weed.
should be putting 400 pounds of weed in, like, I think a trash bag, everyone has them. They're readily available. They're opaque. They try to mask the scent. There is like, trash. I feel like trash bags reasonable, and someone just lost
Dude,
their 400 pounds of weed.
I do not want my weed in like one of those lilac smelling trash bags.
I
So
never
let's
said
just
anything
get
about
us.
the scent
Hey,
bags. Those
smell.
are
I'm just
excluded.
saying it's
Yes.
bad. It's bad. Uh Absolutely bad. But no, those big military duffel bags, you can put a lot of weed in one of those.
Okay, but then you have to go buy them. I just feel like the more economical choice would have been like black trash bags. So maybe if we see missing posters, like, and it's got a picture of weed, then we'll know where it needs to belong. And it'll be like, hey, someone just lost it. They weren't trying to do anything suspect.
Well, Steve
Have you,
tells us that his sea bag would at least fit a human being. So I'm telling you, if you can put a human being in one of these bags, you can put 100 pounds of weed in it.
right.
Just tell
I don't argue that, but this was 467 pounds of weed. And so you would need four of those big bags, those people holder bags. And so I just feel like the more cost effective way would be like, hey, do you have any trash bags lying around? Of course we
no
do.
way. Carlos, Carlos from Chillum reminds us that if you are selling that much weed, you can buy, God, afford a duffel bag.
Okay, that's a good
Ding,
point.
ding,
That's a
ding,
good
ding,
point.
ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
All right.
I am also starting a new company that is going to dispose of people's old weed for them because I just found out today that Jodi throws weed away. And that to me is unheard of. Now,
What do
granted,
you do with your old weed?
I repurpose it.
Like, compost? Should I
No,
compost?
that's like
No.
throwing it away. I make it into edibles. Like, what are you talking? Why
Well,
is it all this weed going in the trash can in your house? Just let me and my company, weed weed wasters, just came up with that. Come by
we wasted.
and I
We
will
wasted.
I will totally dispose of all of your weed in a series of small, tiny little fires over the course of time. It'll be it'll
All
be
natural.
efficient. Yeah. But I've never heard of anyone throwing weed away.
Carlos is gonna feature Price on my on
I didn't
taking
even
my old
quote a
weed.
price. It's a volunteer organization. I do it as a gift to the industry.
There you go. It's hard to beat
Plus,
that price.
I just don't think I'll be very successful because you might be my only client.
Well, there's a no, people no. I people have weed in their freezer from 5 years ago. What in the world are you ever gonna do with 5-year-old weed?
Does it go bad?
100%.
Or does it just get turned into less good weed?
Blah, blah. So I used to laugh. All these people would be like, "Yeah, I smoked pot in the 70s, and it just made me sleepy." And then you have the law enforcement that says, "Well, we tested marijuana from the 70s, and it was 1% THC." And I'm like, huh. And in the last 25 years, I've learned a couple things. First of all, when weed gets old, the THC degrades to
Yes.
CBN and it
Yes.
makes you sleepy. So all these people in the 70s who were like, weed makes me sleepy, they were likely smoking old weed.
Yes.
And when you put that much weed and you compress it that tight, and then you put it in a tire and you drive it from here to Mexico,
Okay.
it degrades the THC.
The more you know, right? The more you know.
The
Like
more you
I
know. No
so
wonder.
this is
I'm
a
like,
very specific
serious.
story. But what I want to know is cannabis testing, obviously near and dear to my heart, but has
100%.
only recently started to really hone in on best practices, preparation of
100%.
a sample for testing. So, how do they know what 70s weed tested at back in the 70s? Because, yes, degradation over time, we have Norlake Scientific shelf life and stability chambers, which are pretty much just giant closets that can hold 10 grown men. And all we do is put weed in there and let it get yucky. Okay. It's a study that we do to see how degradation occurs in the cannabis plant and products over a certain length of time, usually a year or more. Sometimes you can accelerate it with like a 6 month test, but this is pulling it out in increments to see where's the potency and terpenes and where's the microbiological contaminants. And yes, over time, 30% drop you will see, and within probably like a year, and so it's not uncommon. Now, I did,
30% drop. If I have 27% THC
sorry,
and it
not that's
drops
not
30%,
30, not 30 percentage points. I'm saying 30% of the potency total.
right. So 27% now becomes 18%
There you
if it
go.
dropped
I thought you were
30%.
going
I
to say
do
like
math.
30%, 0% negative. No,
No.
you got it.
I do
You got it.
math. The state of Florida may not, but
I
I do
don't.
math.
I don't.
That's okay. I got this. It was
But you see
that
an
one was easy.
increase in microbiological contaminants that are able to sustain life in with different variables and conditions. And we also control all of the variables like the temperature and the light and all that stuff. But yeah, like you don't want to smoke old weed, but if all you have is old weed, are you gonna smoke it?
No, I'm gonna go see a friend.
And then you got call Cynthia's weed wasters to pick it up and dispose of it ethically and
That's right.
economically. Okay.
You know,
Well, hey,
I've been thinking about maybe bathing in it, right?
why not? You could extract it
Use it
into
as
oil and just kind of take a bath in some coconut oil. Yeah, like
create
a
an oil. Yeah,
yeah. You could do
a
that. It'd be
cannabis
like
bath.
I think that could work. Why wouldn't you
And,
make topical bath products out of your old weed?
topical, maybe. Well, the weed I threw away. First of all, the story is about some dude in Colorado that put
No,
400 pounds
the
next to
story
it.
is about you throwing weed
I
away.
did. It sits out. It sits on it. So, in all full disclosure,
Full
I was
disclosure.
telling Cynthia I'm back here in the office, and really nobody has been in the office much since our holiday party in December. So I'm wandering around, and there is weed on every tray in this office, just rando.
Not a flex. This is not a flex. This is just a statement of fact.
It's just, and so I'm like, all right. I'm definitely not smoking that. That looks like that was good when we started. I've it's been sitting there for 2 months catching dust, and old weed gives me a headache, so I'm like,
Okay.
bath product. Taking a
My
bath.
argument is like I'm not going to go roll that up and smoke it per se or put it into my representative black smoking car device, but I am curious because it takes me a long time to finish a cartridge, like from start
Yeah. Oh
purchase
yeah.
to actual. I don't even let it go down all the way before I go buy a new one because I feel like it's tastes funny, and so
It
like it could
does.
be
And it's been
6 months
superheated
on
15
one.
times.
Yeah, is that bad? I know it's a concentrate and we're not worried about microbiological contaminants, but I'm saying, would you stop smoking a cartridge after a certain length of time? Just curious.
100%.
How long?
I probably 3 months.
Wow.
So I love what Oren, thanks for popping in today. It's a pleasure to have you. Oren says
Orange is
that
the best.
we can take old cannabis and turn it into a fermented. So fermented. This is apparently, now I have not tried this. Fermented cannabis may change its bioavailability and give you more of the entourage effect with raw cannabis.
I feel like
And
if
he says no matter how old.
more people stopped throwing their weed away and started to experiment with fermenting it, then we could come so far as an industry, and you could share your knowledge with other people, and a collective could be formed of industry stakeholders and experts. Oren is also the host of Highly Motivated. He has a podcast on Facebook as well, which is incredibly successful. And he always gives me a very appropriate shout out. And I like the inflection of his voice, not like Representative Black's inflection, the one that sounds like a game show host. Oren will call out, and I like that he notices that I am on the show listening to him. So I'm calling out Oren. He is the host of Highly Motivated. So listen to that when you're done listening to this, but not at the same time.
Nice. There you go. No. Not one over the other.
Have you ever played a game before? Like have you ever played the game is it, Steve, correct me, is it Two Truths and a Lie? I think it is.
Steve says two truths and a lie.
Two truths and a lie. Okay, I'm going to give you 3 headlines because this is something you did your homework when I said find something funny. We can't all be fire and brimstone. So I'm going to give you some headlines. 2 of them are going to be true, and 1 of them is going to be a lie. And I want to see if I'm sorry.
The cannabis game show.
Well, I think it's good for us to have a variety of sorry. I have to pick which one's the lie.
A variety of content.
A variety of content that's both uplifting and not. So I'm going to give you 2 truths and a lie.
You didn't think 400 pounds in a trash bag was funny and uplifting?
That was the truth, though.
Your standards
like the woman
are really
who paid
high.
her babysitter in Cannabis recently, this past week, who got in trouble for that. We do not condone paying babysitters in weed, but at the same time, like, well done for like, use what you got. Not everyone has cash, you know.
Oh, wait a minute. So are you saying I shouldn't pay my lawn guy in weed?
No. I can't wink very well and I can't whistle. So if I turn my head and blink, no.
That's good. Okay.
But, no. You can tip him in weed. You should pay him real money, but like, don't wink. I look like a caricature trying to wink. Okay. I'm just gonna shut my eye because if I can't do it, then I'll just manually do it. But yeah, you shouldn't pay your underage babysitter in Cannabis.
Wow. Really? It was an underage babysitter?
Yeah. To be honest, if she was of age, I don't think it'd be a story because I think she would know to keep her mouth shut. But these young kids, they don't know yet that they have to keep their mouth shut. Wow. And so somebody told someone, or I bet she was.
And she got the woman who paid, she got in a lot of trouble. Isn't that what you were telling me?
Gonna be it's endangering a minor because the babysitter was underage, and then maybe the exchange for goods and services as a babysitting job, also her kid, but then also like yeah, she's getting in a lot of trouble. Like this is not like a teachable moment. This should have been already taught. So like there's nothing we can help her with at this point.
PSA.
The more you know.
Do not pay your underage employees in weed.
Or make sure they keep their damn mouths shut. That's a better story. Because if he wasn't blabbing to all her friends, then the law wouldn't come knocking. And just remember, I do not recall I need my attorney. That's all you need to know how to say. You say nothing else. Okay.
There's a PSA. There's another PSA. When asked about weed, say nothing. Don't recall. Call my attorney. 3 headlines, 2 truths, 1 lie. I am still following along.
Okay.
All the weed around here was old and I couldn't smoke it.
I know, because you threw it in the trash, which I will be
It
buying
was all.
shortly to collect your trash bags.
Do you want me sleeping? That's all I need to know.
These are 3 headlines that were published in
Tell me
real
more.
newspapers. Now, one of them was not accurate or real, but it was still
Okay.
published. So I'm giving you
Okay.
3 actually published stories, and you need to tell me which one is fake.
All right,
Okay.
everybody. We've got people on here. There's 10 people with us. So I am not the only one who's guessing.
But
Pay
you are the
attention
only
now.
one that's going to guess. So
I want to hear from I want to like what is the game show where you can like buzz and pick up the phone and call somebody, right? So I'm
wait, you
gonna
want to
take
buzz and phone a friend? We got like
I want to do it
millionaire
all.
and also like
Oh,
the
am I
1970s.
confusing game shows?
I think you are.
Okay, well, let's see what we got. Let me see if I can get them on my own.
Okay, all right. So
All
the
right.
first one is going to be a man claims that 1 kilo of cannabis was meant for a really large batch of soup. Okay.
Kilo was made for soup, was
There
for
was a
soup.
man that got caught
Yeah.
with 1 kilo of cannabis and he told them that it was meant for a really large batch of soup. Okay.
Okay, Stone Soup. A new Ethel Roland. There is a new version of Stone Soup just for you.
There you go. So yeah,
A kilo's
it
a
was meant
kilo's
for a
2,000
very
pounds.
big batch of homemade soup. That's what he said.
Two
Okay.
thousand pounds. Is that a kilo? Am
One,
I?
I don't math. I thought we talked about this many
Oh,
times
one
in this
thousand
episode.
pounds.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
How many pounds per kilo, people? Help me out here.
Okay. So the next one is sorry. Some of these are hilarious. Smugglers toss chicken wings, marijuana over fence of Mississippi prison. Okay.
Okay. Chicken wings and
I mean,
marijuana.
it's the essentials at this point.
So I'm thinking, I like that. You only have one drone, right? And the people in there need more than just marijuana. So, all right. So
Chicken wings, I want to
two
know if they were
truths
cooked or not cooked. Like, were they already prepared and
cooked,
tossed in sauce?
100% cooked.
Okay. Because I mean, I feel
Prisons
like
get
that's
really funny about taking back food to the dorms. So we're just talking a hot snack. All right. So we've got uh okay,
you got
kilo.
a
Jake
man
says
that's
the
claiming
kilo is
one.
2.2 pounds. 2 pounds. 2 pounds. 2.2 for the kilo. Thank you, Jason.
It's not a
So
very
we've
big
got
batch of soup,
soup,
but
soup, and what was the first one? Soup was the
no, the first one was a
soup.
man claimed that 1 kilo of cannabis was meant for a really large batch of homemade soup.
Okay,
That
so
was the news
soup
story that was published.
and then prison. Okay, what's
Okay.
my third?
The
What's my
second
third
one,
choice?
the second one was hot wings or chicken wings and weed were thrown over the fence of a prison. And the third one was
Favorite.
McDonald's plans on turning their play places into cannabis lounges. Which story?
Wow. So I like the whole idea of when I was raising young kids in the marijuana space. I used to tell people, if you want to have a meeting with me, we either need to do it at the McDonald's play space or we need to do it next to the pool at the hotel, right? Because the
Yeah.
kids have to have something to do. So I really like the idea of marijuana. So the scary part of this whole exercise, Cynthia,
Yes.
is that any of those stories are true.
All of these stories were published. That's what's scary.
That's scary too.
All of them, I have no judgment. Okay. If McDonald's wants to turn their play place into canna lounges, more power to you. If the guy wants to make a big soup, like a big cannabis soup, I don't know if it tastes very good, but you know what? More power to you. That's your weed. Do it your way. See, tie in McDonald's, have it your way.
That was
Do it
very
okay.
good.
Thank you. I didn't even plan.
I think that is that
organic.
McDonald's or is that Burger King?
I don't know.
Have it your way.
It's not time to nickel and dime. But
Can we talk about pennies
we
then?
didn't talk about pennies, but and then of course, throwing chicken wings over the fence of a prison with some weed, like that's just like that's your homies just holding out. That's your homies just showing up for you when you need them. If you're incarcerated and you don't have money on your commissary and you definitely don't have weed, then you're hungry And like those are two things I could use if I was incarcerated. So I feel like all of these are no judgment in my opinion. Make your soup, have your lounge, throw
So
your
we,
meat and chicken tenders over the prison. If I'm incarcerated, throw me,
chicken
Chipotle,
wings.
taquitos, and some vapes. But like to each
After
their,
that.
which one out of these very published, very like, broadcast news stories is not an accurate story?
Tough. I'm gonna go with, and I think I got this one. I really think I got this one. I do not believe that that McDonald's is gonna turn their
Yeah.
PlayStations
It was
into,
published, but it is not an accurate
but
story
it is
in
not
the
true.
slightest.
Dave McKenney's with us. He's wondering if a little bit of 2.2 pounds of marijuana in your I
Gazpacho?
can't pronounce gazpacho might
Gazpacho.
be the way to do it.
That is
That
a
would be
cold soup.
great. So you could have like fresh. Oren was telling us fresh. We want fresh weed, right?
Do
So
you
there
want
you have
fresh
it.
weed though, or do you want it like cured and dried and like really get the flavor profile honed appropriately in the drying and curing process?
Isn't that fresh weed?
Well,
I
I'm
thought
saying
that's
it's
what
almost
fresh
like
weed
it's
meant.
like
Oh,
wine,
oh,
it's wine gets better with age, but you don't want fresh wine like I do. I like an Arbor Mist of 2026 of this year, something nice and fresh, because I'm not a connoisseur or sommelier. I'm not appreciative of wine. But
grape juice or I have one vineyard that I can't, or Camus. I will drink grape juice or $100 bottle of wine.
look at
There's
you,
no in
bougie
between.
or bougie or bust, right? Yeah, I get
Bougie
it.
or
I mean, I like whiskey. Like, I appreciate whiskey. I
good
have a
whiskey.
favorite whiskey. Don't try and give me like
Yeah.
bottom shelf because I'll taste it and I'll spit it out aggressively. Not in your face, but close to it.
You
Like,
wouldn't throw it out. You wouldn't pitch it.
oh, like make eye contact with them and just dump it out at the bar. I feel like that's something I could do. I didn't think
Yes,
about it back then, but like
you
I could
could.
whiskey and I will know it's bad. Now, it doesn't have to be a certain way. I also don't like to make whiskey shitty by adding water, like ice cubes and soda to it. I just like it
Right.
neat,
You want whiskey.
neat and ladylike. That's it.
Okay. Very good. Are you going to tell us what your favorite brand of whiskey might be?
Buffalo Trace, hands down, all
Okay.
day, every day. I would fight a bear in a volcano for Buffalo Trace.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
That's,
All
so
right.
put that down for
Just
the
in
Christmas
case.
list, just in case you don't know what to get, Cynthia. That's what you get me. I don't even drink that much,
Buffalo,
but if I'm
Buffalo
going to,
Trace.
yeah,
A bear in a volcano.
I would
I don't
fight
know
a bear
where that came
aggressively
from.
in a volcano for Buffalo Trace. If you haven't
Aggressive.
had it, try it.
Okay. All right.
And I used to be a
So,
bartender, so I got to try a lot of different whiskeys, a lot of very like expensive and stuff that had really good profile. No, I couldn't taste the money that you were charging me in there. I didn't see the value. Buffalo Trace is by far just amazing. It's
is it a top shelf?
I would say like a mid because like a
Yeah.
small handle is like $26 or like a regular. I don't know. I don't
Grey
drink that
Goose
much
kind of. Yeah.
at all. So like if I do, like it's probably with intent to like end up on top of a table somewhere and really embarrass my family. Um but it's yeah, because I wish I could just sip and enjoy it, but I'm like, woo, let's go to the beach. Like, yeah, let's make some memories. So
I saw
that's why I
that
don't do it that often.
I saw that Terry just joined. Terry was my tequila friend last week, in case anybody wondered why I was sluggish last week.
I mean, when you start talking in cursive and italics, then we know that you might be under the influence. But on cannabis, you are on point.
Spot. Yeah, I like cannabis. I'm very fascinated about this alt beverage conference that's
Me
happening
too.
this weekend. And what an alt
Is it open
beverage.
bar?
I don't know.
It's not open
And
bar. That was a trick
am I
question.
going to have a VIP that's going to get me into all sorts of trouble? Uh,
I
so you
don't.
said you don't drink very much. Are you interested in the cannabis beverages? Is that, I mean,
No.
you work, okay.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
have no
because you
desire
work
to
in a
drink my
lab? And it has nothing to do with working in a lab. It's
It
just
does.
you're a lab. Okay.
It does. Because
Okay.
I'll give you I'll give you some insight. As much as I can say. Okay. Cannabis beverages kind of uh Okay. What type of container are cannabis beverages traditionally in?
An aluminum can.
Thank you. Perfect answer. That's what I want to know. Just like a
Okay,
soda, just like a
right,
beer, right?
100%.
Um, have you ever seen someone try to put cannabis into water and mix it completely so that they say this is water
100%.
soluble cannabis and see how clear it
100%.
is? It's like kind of cloudy. Okay, so it makes sense that if you're gonna have like a seltzer that is clear and you just put it in the can and you if it's cloudy, no one's gonna care. It's just bubbly and that's fine. What happens when you test it is you take the can and you pull a representative sample of cans, and sometimes the cannabinoids will remain on the inside of the can. So, as much as you are accurate with your development of a product and formulation, the end result product testing, as is from a shelf perspective, like the state would do, doesn't always come out to the right potency in the lab space. Now, does not mean that
Gotcha.
the retailer did anything wrong. They probably put
No,
the right
right.
amount in there, but we have to get the right amount out to legitimize that product. And it can be very frustrating when we have to talk to clients about the remaining product might be on the inside of a can, and part of our
Right.
process cannot be to rinse the can and scrape out the cannabinoids. So they don't, we know how to test them, we know how to fix this problem. I'm not going to say it because then all my competitors will do it, but we know how to address this now. But at the beginning it was kind of a nightmare and it kind of sucked. So now we know and we've been able to fix it, but it's kind of been a thorn in my side for enthusiasm with cannabis beverages.
Well, and the not understanding, I think that's a fabulous point. I worked with a client for a little while that was bringing a cannabis beverage to the market. They're no longer a sponsor of Florida Can, so they shall remain nameless.
Dead to
But
us.
that's right. So they used to talk about having coated the lining of their can so that cannabinoids would not
I
stick
don't
to it.
want a coating on the inside of the can. I don't, I just want it to not like
You want a bong with ice, an ice shelf
an
is
ice
what you told
shelf. Just why can't a girl just get an ice shelf and an Evian water bong? Like, is
and
that too
some
much to
fresh and
ask?
some fresh weed. So I'm curious. I'm thrilled. In 2016, one of my clients was trying to get someone in Florida space that, or maybe it was, yeah, 16, 17, that did stability over time. And nobody had the capacity back then to do stability over time. So I would be curious from one of our growers or cultivators the what they think the right amount of time is,
I would love to
hanging,
know
drying, and
too, because
popping, and
what's funny,
what's fresh. What does fresh mean?
um, well, first off, I don't know if like fresh to me is like plant, cut, send. Like it's
Very
still wet.
fresh.
It's wet flour, you know?
Okay,
It's
which
like
is
that's
great for a
not
corsage or for a
super
just
cute for homecoming. Yeah. Canna Corsages, my new company that's coming along shortly. Like, super
right
cute.
after the
I
weed.
love that for you for like a, a boutonniere, canna boutonniere, a bud boutonniere.
Absolutely.
I am on board with this and we will wordsmith this. However, when you send fresh flower, you're
GPT.
usually sending it to me because there's an investigation that has to be conducted. Either the yield is
Uh,
not as much, you want me to test it for HLVD, which is a virus that attacks the cannabis plant and it can ruin everything. It can ruin an entire genetic all the way back to the mother plant being contaminated. So you're only sending me fresh flower that's still wet, not because you want data on like how potent is it, because it's not very potent. It's
right.
it's usually for an investigation or for some other means. So that's what I think fresh flower is. It's not the dry cured stuff that was just put into the package and on the shelf. That to me is like patient ready.
So, um, someone was showing us that they had purchased recently, like
Oh, I saw
recently
that one.
purchased cannabis that was harvested a year ago. And I don't know how comfortable I am with that. As a consumer, I don't know what to think about that. If they handed me, now if they gave it to me for $3, please. But I'm wondering what your
So
stability
you would buy
tests
it
are
for
showing.
three
So
dollars.
whenever you can find out. No, I'd probably throw it out.
You'd buy
But
it
yeah.
for $3. Okay, and then throw it away.
Okay.
So
Try it,
here's the thing.
throw it out.
I
So
I did
thank
see
you.
the same post that you saw, and I had the same question of the public. What would you do? What do you think is appropriate? Now, there is no expiration date protocol in the state of Florida. There is a best by suggested best if used by date that they can do, which does not involve a lot of testing data and scientific research like an
Right.
expiration date would. However, my COA from my laboratory and my colleague laboratories, like
Right.
competitors, that COA really does have an expiration date on it because we can only back up that data with conviction and repeatability for about 1 calendar year. So if it was
Okay.
tested, if it was harvested a year ago and it was tested 6 months ago, then check the COA. And if the product looks like it's good, then you're good. Maybe they maintain the integrity of it after the harvest, but the 6 months before they send it off. What matters is when the results of the test were completed, you have approximately 1 year for us to stand behind you with conviction. But after a year, it's like we're looking at degradation of potency, possible micro issues. But for 1 year, those results, we will go to court with you if we have to. But after
Okay.
a year, it's hard to stand behind them. So I would say a year from the COA would be the max date for me. Uh, unless you have that document, I don't really know if that photo is bad or good at this point.
So buy it for $3 because it's going to be massive clearance sale,
Who buys
and then take it
clearance
home and
weed
try
and then bitches about it afterwards?
I'll just throw it out if I $3. I'll just throw it out if I don't like it. So I'm really glad Oren's here today. As we're talking about the THC potency, Oren puts out here that based on his research, aluminum will destroy your THC. So he said that it degrades very quickly. Aluminum will very quickly. So fascinating. I wonder what my C valve is. Is this steel and not aluminum, I
I think
guess?
that's stainless steel.
Okay.
I,
So
I don't think it's aluminum at all because it
safe,
is heavy.
safe in my C vault. But that aluminum is gonna make it degrade very quickly, and that a lot of the aluminum cans in the space have a plastic liner or a cellulose
Cellulose. Yep.
to
So
keep
no
it.
matter what, like
And Dr. Gordon just says thumbs down on THC beverages, but
it's not that the
it's a
beverage
big
industry, I mean, let's give them credit. There, if you want to make THC beverages, I think do that and consume those over alcohol. Like, because there's a lot of really bad things that can
says the
happen
Buffalo
with
Trace Girl.
alcohol. Well, I'm
True.
like I said, I don't drink that much, but I know my limitations. I wouldn't drink and drive. I wouldn't drive intoxicated. I also know that like it takes about half of a Buffalo Trace for Cynthia to end up on a table. So like someone's gonna have to drive me. I probably got to ride there. Let's be honest. But at this point, I think alternative beverages are a phenomenal choice for people that don't always want to be drinking alcohol in a social setting or in a private setting. And so for all that purpose, go on, do your stuff, have fun, make whatever you want to. I'm going to try and test it as good as I can. So,
So I am right. You'll do the best you can to get an accurate test. Um, I am I'm in between on the alt beverages. What and mostly because I don't get to go to a bar and smoke weed. They want me to go to a bar and drink a THC beverage. And I want to go to a bar. I want to drink seltzer water. I want to play pool and smoke weed.
well, yeah. And I mean, I would
Well,
like
yeah,
$1 million and also like a bunch of other things too. But like,
yeah.
I guess I understand that you're asking for in your mind, you're asking for very little except for the permission slip
Very little
to
consideration.
do the things. Like,
Without excessive
exactly.
smoke being a
Well, they're already
nuisance.
making
Without,
limitations on locations where we can smoke, and we don't even have the ability to smoke in public. So they're already working on that in Tallahassee as if we could ever do that to begin with. So along with the open container stuff. It's almost like just giving law enforcement additional ways to get us in more trouble for doing things that we were doing legitimately and legally a week before it went into effect. So I did go and buy a vape the other day and threw it in the front seat, and I was like, won't be able to do that forever. Just toss you in the front seat like you're riding shotgun with me, put you in the seatbelt like I care. Like I'll have to lock you in the trunk like a dead body. And so, it was almost nostalgic that I had to think about, I won't be able to throw my weed on the front seat if this goes any further. I'll have to lock it in the back like a dead body.
And I thought, you know what? I don't even care. I'm always going to throw my weed on the front seat. I'm going to keep it in my purse. The chances of this old woman having an encounter with law enforcement driving 74 miles an hour in my Jeep is just
And if
low.
you do get incarcerated, I will throw chicken wings and weed over the fence to you
Whoop, whoop.
because
That's
that's
a
a good
real
friend.
friend.
The more you know, right?
Well, I'll tell you what. Um, we are having a really great time. I am thrilled to be here with Cynthia Brewer as we talk about some elevated intel this week. In case you missed it, Texas Dems may get ahead of us. Iowa may get ahead of us with legalization. As an aside, many people who did sign the Smart and Safe ballot have been getting noticed from the Secretary of Elections asking them if you really did sign.
Are
My
you sure
husband
you
David
signed this?
signed.
Are
Are
you
you sure?
sure? Are
And
you
it
positive?
wasn't a week. It wasn't a week after he signed it that he got this paper asking if he was sure that it was really him that signed it. So, if you didn't get something that says you signed it, it is possible that your signature was not counted. So, the way to find out whether or not your signature was counted is simple. Call the supervisor of elections in your community, tell them your name, ask them if your petition was counted. It's important. We found that there was a really high rate of rejection in this
Yes.
ballot. So that high rate of rejection may be that you don't do the L in your name the way you used to, or you signed your ballot the way
It's
you do
such
on your
a
credit
high
card.
rate of rejection. There's no excuse. There's really no excuse, Jodi. Like, this is obscene. If somebody finds
100%.
out that their ballot was not counted, what can they do about it at this point?
We'll reach out to Florida Cannabis Action Network, private messages on Facebook. Let us know the when, the where, and the how that you believe that you signed it. We're collecting some of that information. Smart and Safe has its lawyers, but all we can do as individuals is make sure that our voice is heard. So let Florida Can know. We're keeping track on those things. We'll turn them over to the campaign and see. But at 70,000, there's 30,000 ballots out there that keep us from being able to vote on legalization. So
My
love a
numbers are significantly more depressing. Like,
hundred. Well, it's 100,000, but if they get the 70,
no, 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 no.
yes,
No.
yes, no.
Nancy Drew, in Search of the Midlife Crisis, has dove deep into every supervisor of elections website for every county, like every single
Okay.
county in the state of Florida. I pulled the data of what they disclosed as valid, invalid, processed, and received for every county. It took me 48 hours straight to get that done because
Oh,
I
well,
needed to know, and you can't find it in one centralized location. You can't find it on the website of the supervisor of elections for the state of Florida. You have to go to each individual one, every
so you're
single
making
one.
Hector very happy right now. You know that,
Hector's
right?
the one who put me on this scent. And he knows if you put me on a scent, I'm gonna go until like a bloodhound, until I find whatever it is. And so I pulled every single county and printed every single county. And let's just say one out of every two ballots weren't counted. There you go.
Wow. Yeah,
Over
50%.
1.5 were submitted, 1.5 million were submitted to all of the counties. That's cross-referencing the language that the state has for the ballots that were valid. I took the numbers from the individual counties that were invalid, and then we have a cross-reference number of data there. They're starting to delete it off the county sites now, which is really unfortunate. So I'm glad I printed everything. But 800,000 people have not been counted as valid. They were
Wow.
invalid. That is 55% of the petitions are invalid or have been deemed invalid. 1.5 submitted. Gadsden County was the worst with 74% of invalid petitions. And you got people like Franklin County, or I don't want to say, there was 2 counties that didn't fall in line with instructions of whatever, but like we're talking 55%. And I mean, Hector will give you the numbers when it comes to other ballot initiatives and expectation of invalid numbers, and they are in line with what they should, around 11%. Why is Smart and Safe at 55% across every county? Something's not right. For every 2 people that signed the petition, 1 was not counted.
So we're not counting Smart and Safe out yet, but we really do hope that individuals will take a look at their own ballot. That's really all we can do right now, is make sure that
pull your county stuff. Go onto your supervisor of election for your county and go on the search bar and type in petitions, and then it'll come up and you click on the ballot petitions or the initiatives, and then it'll have a list of the ones that people submitted, and look at the numbers.
There you go.
And then do it for every county in Florida until your eyes bleed.
Someone said, contact John Morgan. He may be willing to help. We'll see.
John Morgan's not going to take up this one.
I'm just not seeing it. So I hope everybody enjoyed Elevated Intel today. We got a funny thing that happened on the way to Elevated Intel. We have talked about a $3.3 billion industry. We did not talk about whether or not the current market is a tax on the poor. I expect to get into that.
Or the pennies.
And pennies.
We'll save it for next week.
If you have a few million laying around, your MMTC is available. Just look on Facebook. You'll find it on the Facebook Marketplace. And what do you do with old weeds? So I think that's a wrap, Cynthia. You feel good about it? That was a lot.
We covered so much.
We covered a lot. And thank you all for staying with us for Elevated Intel. We appreciate it tremendously. It's way more fun for Cynthia and I to do this when you do this with us.
And we don't just do this ourselves alone.
100%. Cynthia mentioned that our shares were down. That's on me and it's on you. So please share.
Not on me. It's on you.
Not on you. It's on you. Oh, because you shared.
No, we're politely requesting that you like and share, press the buttons, and do the engagement things so that we can get more places and more people can hear the thing about.
Appreciate it. So if you liked what you saw, you can certainly check out previous episodes. We're on Spotify and on YouTube.
Yep.
I'll see you next Friday from the Alt Beverage Conference.
Yes, ma'am. Have a good one.
All right. And Carla, good luck next week. And we'll be back next week with more Elevated Intel at 4:20. Thanks for showing up.
Imagine standing shoulder to shoulder with hundreds of Floridians, business owners, and advocates inside the state capitol, ready to make real change. That's what Cannabis at the Capitol is all about. The signature Lobby Day and Education Expo from the Florida Cannabis Action Network, where voices intersect with policy and passion turns into progress. For just $50 for individuals, you'll gain access to expert briefings, self-guided meetings with lawmakers, and the power to influence Florida's cannabis future. For businesses, $300 unlocks premium access. Connect with decision makers, showcase your enterprise, and build alliances in a fast-growing sector. Whether you're a medical patient seeking stronger access, an entrepreneur navigating regulations, or a company ready to stand at the forefront of industry change, this is your platform. One day in Tallahassee could shift a lifetime of regulation. Join us. Be present. Be heard. Be the change at Cannabis at the Capitol.